Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here today with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. You are back with us. Mark is finally back.
Woo!
Let's
Party.
see if we can do it. It's August 5th, everybody. Yes, it's August 5th. We are in the month of the fire and sun. So I talked about how
Have you talked about it?
we talked about how the month is also our birthdays, yes, but it's a month of just confidence, finding our confidence, being in our like full sun state. And that's for everybody. We talked about that the other day with sometimes just smiling, giving someone courage, by just that little boost of energy we may give, living in our light, liberating others to do the same. And it also scares away people who are, little bit darker when
Yeah.
they know people are standing against it, not standing against them, but standing against the dark. So that's what this month has been. And today, well, with week 1, it's the ignition. So it's just like getting it going, sparking it, right? And then today is our test by flame. So it's the test by flame. I really, really loved these stories. I always say that. I feel like every single day I'm like, wow, I really love these stories. That's not true. I've changed some of the stories as I've started reading them.
Yeah.
They aren't new ones though. I've been really cutting back some of the ones that I'm like, I think we get it now. I think we get it now. And it's kind of shuffled in some other ones. But it was really cool because I was starting to catch patterns. How I told you, I'm starting to catch the patterns of the languages. Certain languages I really struggled with before are becoming better. But I was working with the ChatGPT earlier just because I thought I was catching on to a pattern, but I was asking a question. So I noticed something in that blues movie.
Okay.
And I was like, did I catch a connection in Wakanda Forever? That transition, which is funny. The thing that I noticed, the costume designers worked together. That was the thing that I noticed.
Wow.
Was just the color white being used on one of the actresses in Sinners. I was like, that looks very intentional, just like Wakanda Forever. I wonder if white really is what they wear to funerals. I'm not talking about all of Africa, right? Because that's a huge, isn't that the biggest continent?
I think so.
I think so. I'm not sure though. But anyways, in some regions, it can be a number of colors. Red was one of the other ones that costume designers were debating, but they went with white to symbolize the purity and how death is not the end. It really isn't. And I really liked in the way they did it with Sinners, it was to show she properly crossed over. She met peace. It may not have been peaceful, the transition piece, but she met it. And there was someone waiting for her, the day, and which was really cute. It was just a beautiful kind of thing. And I noticed that. And it was awesome because the intro to the movie Sinners, it's a folklore movie.
That's cool.
Because I was like, oh, snap. They're literally showing you the griots and stuff. And then you see some Native Americans, some Irish, but they're storytellers. They're telling you the myths of them, just like a couple, like 30 seconds. But it's like, I see where this is going. And that veil being lifted. I mean, music is something that lifts the
Yeah,
veil.
for sure. Like
The
you got that.
frequency.
Yeah, the frequency, the energy. That's for sure going to do that.
And I think that's why we feel things so strongly. Sometimes music we aren't sure of. I never would have thought I would listen to blues. Been listening to it nonstop since I watched that movie. I just can't get enough of that feeling. You know how like when you mention that like when we're singing and doing stuff and that you can tell when something comes from deeper within me, that's where I feel it. Like I've been humming those like beats and the rhythms of a number of them all day and it's coming from that same place. So it's like, I don't know, my heart chakra just, it vibrates so good when I'm doing it and I've just been doing it all day.
Yeah.
And I think that's why my day was such a power day today.
Yeah. And you can see your energy and just like fully your body, so it's a pretty beautiful thing to see that transition and just that grace that you're able to have going through it. It's cool.
It's It's interesting, you know, being in the month of fire and finding your confidence. And sometimes that's realizing how different of a person you are. And I thought that just through music today. You know, I was thinking, what my top 3 music choices were rap music, country music, and then pop, probably. Because, you know, just listening to the radio, whatever,
Right.
working at the school, it's what was played. And now I would argue that my top 3 are the indie folk music,
Mm-hmm.
the reggae probably, and then country. But I would say probably blues are going to take over that country pretty soon. But even countries, it's been battling with R&B. And then that movie, I think it just tipped the scales.
Yeah.
It did, because R&B, I mean, Amanda really got me into R&B music, like the actual stuff, not just the popular, but and then this, I don't know, I was like in tears sometimes when I cranked it up and just felt it. Like I was just sitting there just feeling it, you know, and it was like, whew, feels good.
R&B can be great. Like it can, you know, I mean, any type of music truly does. And there's so many different types because every single person needs to be affected in a different way. So every single different type of music isn't going to resonate with everybody, you know? So somebody needs something, just like metal to me. There's some like when they are singing and they're actually using their voices, but as soon as they start screaming, I'm done. Like it does something. My energy does not like the screamo at all. It's the fastest way to change my energy.
There's some like lighter screamo songs that I remember when I was a little bit younger in the bar scene. The battle between the metal screamo and that, like, it was like the more intense the screamo, people going up to play the metal music. I know I'm not, whatever.
Yeah.
It just got more and more intense. And then the opposite side was getting irritated at the bars, and they're heavy drinking at this point.
Right.
At this point, they're playing games to see who's going to get upset first.
Yeah.
The other side's playing older and older country music. So you have someone slowing it down with Johnny Cash, right? And just making sure. And then we started going for what are the longest songs in my genre. And then someone eventually just started cutting off the other side. Like it got bad. But it was like every single weekend. It's like, and then there was the battle between the languages, you know, like where they'd go play the Hispanic music, and then people would be upset, so they'd go play something in a different language,
and then
it's
they
not
would
just
come,
English.
and then they would like skip it, like they would do that here, especially. It's like, wow, you guys are just.
It's like a battle for the music,
and I understand it. But it's
not how music was intended, I don't think.
No, and it's such a disrespect to everybody involved. And honestly, to yourself as a person, because you're just going out disrespecting everybody else and their culture or their likes or dislikes. Because within a lot of the stuff I've done and over the past quite a few years, one of the biggest things that I took away from a ceremony I was at was if a song comes on that triggers you, especially during the ceremony, it's triggering you for a reason. So like now it's making me think, why is screamo trigger me? I don't know, but that'd be cool to find out now. But it's there for a reason, but it's there for a reason for everybody, even the ones that don't like it. So we shouldn't be so quick to judge in what we're doing. And I think that goes across the board with everything. But
yeah, and I just kept getting excited, and then I've been really consciously telling myself, stop thinking of a response and listen. So, you know, I keep like popping up, and then I stop because I keep telling myself, you need to listen, not just like respond. But from what you just said, I think now, you know, I mean, you don't really like to yell. Our hardest days together have been the only days where we've raised our voices and yelled and screamed. So it doesn't surprise me that you wouldn't like that kind of music. You don't like the frequency that's associated with it in your experience, in my opinion, right? And I could be totally wrong. But I kept getting excited because there was another genre that's getting to the top, and it's the Irishy folk music.
Isn't it great? It's fun.
And they played some in that movie, really? And I was like, dude, this playlist is so good. I don't know. I just love music where like it says in the movie, just some people break the veil because they make music that's so honest that it brings the past and the future together. It does. It lifts it, and it just, every story, because that's what the villain's going after. He just wants stories. He wants them because he's disconnected. Make a deal with the devil. You're disconnected from harmony. It's not you're disconnected from you're disconnected from harmony, not ancestors, not whatever, that's what it is. And music doesn't just belong to the angels, right?
Yeah.
And I just really liked it. And I wasn't sure if at the end they were referencing any sort of thing with I think it was Robert Johnson. I could be wrong. But the legendary, I think, blues or jazz player who is said to have met someone at the crossroads, came back, a real story. Met someone at the crossroads, was mediocre, came back,
and was amazing.
One of the greatest players. And who was it that, it's an American Horror Story. He's portrayed as a villain, but he's not a villain. He's a crossroad deity. I can't think of him right now though, but yeah, it's just, Papa Legba. I knew I was going to get it. I could hear Papa in my head and I was like, it's not going to go away. I'm going to just have to. But yeah, I wasn't sure if they were referencing that or not. I would like to go back now that I'm thinking about it again and see. But yeah, I brought all of that up because the connections and stuff were being tested by the flame today. And our lesson or our theme is purification through burning. I love that because fire, we're having the wildfire here, right?
Yep.
And it's burning. And a number of the stories that we've read, it talks about the forest burning. And guess what? It's going to come back even stronger, even better. And all of this week, and especially today, fire doesn't burn you down. It exposes you. It doesn't just destroy. It reveals who you are. When things have burnt to the ground, what is left? And I just love that idea. If everything else fell down, what would be left? Because in your mind, you're like, oh, I would refuse to let that go down. And for some people, it is possession-y things. For me, there's some pictures that that's a possession.
Yeah.
That I would go run for, right? But it's interesting to see that fire is a way of purifying, right? God didn't create water to be good and fire to be evil because we've seen both of them do the very opposite. Right? Fires will warm a home, not a whore. Well, they will, but I'm not going to put that in, but it's funny. But fires will warm a home in water. I'm terrified of the power of water.
Yeah.
I just picture water coming over mountains and I'm like, that's a no for me. Mm-mm.
Well, that's because you were back there at that point when that happened. So that's probably why you're like, well, this is big. Man.
Here we go again.
Not again. Man.
But the lesson is that fire reveals truth. So it kind of made me feel good because it's that pressure, people that never want to reply when they're under pressure. Sometimes you need to. Eventually, we have to break under pressure and reveal some things about ourselves, even if it's to ourselves. That doesn't mean I break and I scream or I break and I cry or whatever. It could just be I take a deep breath and I'm finally honest. Maybe that's how I break. Or I go, I'm cutting this energy off for a while, this one completely, and I'm giving myself to this. It reveals so much about us if we allow ourselves to be pushed, because it's not a breaking point, it's a breaking through, kind of thing.
No, I like that for sure. Definitely what I was thinking while you were saying all that is you get pushed as a test or whatever, and it's going to keep happening. And you're just going to keep going within and within and within, and you're going to allow this to keep happening and happening and happening. Well, when you start wondering, why is this happening so many times? Because you haven't done what you were saying and done kind of what you did the other day when you stood up for yourself, because you're like, you know what? No. And that's how it should have been. And that's amazing that you did that. And that's more than likely why you feel so great these last 2 days.
Yeah, it shocked my system. I think that's what I needed to get out of whatever anger, resentment, that. I was in a deep hole.
Right. But you used the test Because how many times have you been pushed and you haven't said anything? And then the time when you finally, it's like, okay, she hasn't done it yet, but she's going to do it this time. And so the universe gives you your test again. And guess what? Bam, you passed it. And then
And
you
I
felt
did
great.
it calmly after being
Yeah.
so angry.
Love that for
I
you.
was just, because it's worse. My dad just, he was so proud of me. He's like, there's something just, I know I've got someone when they blow up on me. I know I do. I've won. And you're justifying it by your attitude, your behavior. I didn't. I just said it and walked away. And yeah, I do feel better. I feel like in my power.
Yeah.
Because when we speak our truth, that's just what I was thinking was I spoke my truth. There is nothing you can say except I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I heard everything. And so did everyone else in the lobby who stood witness to me saying that's not okay.
Yeah. Well, and my thing, and I say it to everybody nowadays, I'm sorry means nothing to me. And then there's a lot of people at my work that is just a word they use all the time. And I say it. And it was funny because I was just saying it. I think it was today. And I was like, hey, man, don't say you're sorry. It doesn't mean anything. I was like, only your actions, in which I've been watching you, and your actions are the same every day. So you're not sorry. You're just saying it. Don't say that to me.
Repetitive, repeat offenders, sorry, sayers are. As I've noticed, and this is my opinion.
I think
you can
it's a
disagree.
cop-out.
Yeah, and you could disagree with me for sure because I know there have been people that I don't know if I've ever heard them say I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's a
they've
thing too.
been in the wrong. And all that would have fixed it was just, I was wrong or my bad. I apologize. As soon as you add the but though,
Yeah,
you're not because you're justifying it still. I messed up, but I did it.
Yeah.
That's different. I did it. I can't take it back. I did it. I did it with my best intentions.
Right.
And there are times when I do believe that there's a talk, whether that leads to an apology or whether that just leads to an honest conversation. But I do agree with that, especially when it's over the same habits.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What are you sorry for? That you're getting caught? That we have to have this conversation again?
Right. And it's hard because you and I are still learning that. And I feel like I am more than you for sure with that word. But like you said, just it's not like I knew this is a test.
No, you did. You never do.
Oh, it's not like I knew it was a test or anything like that. And we don't always know it's a test. More oftentimes we don't. There were two options in front of me. And whatever it was, when she walked out, she pushed some sort of energy at me. Just that tiny, what is that movie where all these things are flowing together and then there's that tiny little light that just finishes it? Enchanted. When she's changing into a real person out of the cartoon form and all those lights start hitting her and she's like, what? And then there's that last one that just does it. That's what it felt like. That little bit of light that just hit me and went, I'm safe. I didn't know anyone else in there except the girls in the pharmacy, which they're cool.
Yeah.
I haven't had a problem with them.
Maybe don't say that. Don't go too in depth in where you were at, just so people can't.
Oh, no. I'm not going to say like whatever because I don't really know all their roles.
Right.
But I was just, in case any of them see it, they weren't the problem. And I feel comfortable around those women. But it was just, she just gave me enough of, I feel safe to say something with her here.
And that's a thing, and that's a beautiful thing about the reality that we get to live. Sometimes you don't know when you're somebody else's guardian angel, when you're somebody's protector. So when you go out into the world and you allow yourself to be, even unknowingly, is one of the most beautiful things. And that interaction between the two of you is, I'm extremely happy she was there and that she walked out, because there are no coincidences. So that was supposed to happen because you stood up for yourself first.
And she mentioned when we were in the private room together, she was the nurse taking me in, she just talked about how much I gave to her grandsons that I taught, and her, not just grandsons, but granddaughters too. Had a number of, but she just acknowledged my character for everything she's seen since I've been a little kid. I mean, her husband used to like try to steal my earmuffs because they were so warm, right? And he used to always talk about him. I remember that at baseball games. Like, he's going to comment on him, you know? It was like, I was cool.
Like the kid with the sweater this year.
Yeah. And that's who they were to me. But they were always good to me. There have been rumors about everybody, right? None of them stuck because of the kindness that I got when I was little. I've just never allowed anything to remain on my ears, you know, about them. And so she's known me for a while. But she's not only known me, she's seen direct impact that I've caused on people. She lives it.
Yeah.
You know, she helps raise her grandkids. That's a big thing. And to just have given that little bit of whatever, like I kind of want to send her flowers, honestly. Yeah. I think I might do that tomorrow.
That'd be cool.
Just be like, not even say my name on there. But kind of just like a thank you for being the light that I needed. You know, something just short and sweet.
Yeah, that would be beautiful.
But yeah, because I've been trying to, I went on my called it apology tour several years back, right? We were talking about sorries and stuff. There were some people I needed to swallow my pride and apologize. Yeah. That's all they required of me. And they didn't really require it. We aren't friends. It wasn't going to make us friends. It wasn't going to make either of us trust each other. And it wasn't going to repair the damage. It was just, I've grown up and I was an ass. Not, but you were too. No, I'm not taking any responsibility for your stuff, but I'm here to acknowledge there were a few people that I had done wrong. You know, as a kid, you do wrong.
Right.
I didn't bully, like, I'm not talking about that intense stuff, but there were a few people that, you know, I did that too. But now I feel like I'm on my, and I've done it a couple times in the past year or two where I've been on this gratitude kind of kick where I like to send people stuff sometimes as just a thank you. Like someone who really meant something, whether it's my family, you know, that's why I like gifts. That's why I like giving gifts because I don't think we need to put our name on it. Could I go in there and be like, oh, I'm not going to put my name, but thanks for standing up to me or standing up for me. You know, that's what I'm saying. Just something, hey, you were positive. You know, you helped me. It's been a couple days, so, you know, it's no big deal. But yeah, I want to do that. But yeah, we get to see the test by flame today. We're going to see it through Hindu, Norse, medieval, and Zulu. And it's really cool because we get tested how pure we are through fire, right? How strong we are. But also the Norse world was created through opposing forces, the fire and the ice realms.
Right.
That's how it was created, was that their energy just projected enough that when they hit,
boom.
You know, so fire's necessary.
You
know, it really is. And it's kind of cool because there's one of them's a generic one, medieval Europe. Okay, it's a whole place. It's really just goes to show how historically we've used kind of silly things in the courtrooms. Like if I burn you, right, the trial by ordeal. So if you're burned and then after so much time's gone by and you have an infection, okay, then you're clearly something's wrong with you. If it stayed a serious burn and God didn't intervene and heal you, you're guilty. And they use that for a while. Like priests and stuff were using that to prove people's guilt or innocence. And I was just like, whoo!
That is.
You know, how crazy the evidence. Like, because then they're like, actually, let's maybe look for proof and stuff. Let's not be as extreme.
Let's take half a step back.
Just take a breath. But so we're kind of thinking in terms of what survives after the fire, what is still left standing, but specifically what survives my fire. If I burn it all down, what is left? Because even my energetic fire refuses to let that be destroyed, right? What is lit up, like projected to this higher scale because of my fire versus the alternative? So is it my confidence? Is it my willingness to stand up for myself, right? Is it, you know, my arts and crafts? Is it our books? You know, there's just so many different things. But we're going to write down. So our activity today is that we're going to write a fear down. And I know a lot of times it's not great to write something like that down because it's almost bringing it into reality. But the reason that we're writing it down is because we're burning it,
I
because
knew that was
we're
coming.
burning it from our fears, our reality.
I like
So if
that.
I have it in my body, my mind, whatever it may be, maybe it's a fear I feel in my stomach, right? When I write it down, think about where that fear comes from. You write it down, it's just pushing it there. And then when you burn it with that intention, I'm burning away my fears, right? That energy is literally being transferred out.
I can already feel it working.
So we get to do that today. And of course, we're being safe as always whenever we do this stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's great. It's not a crumple up and throw away kind of thing. It's got to be destroyed, but not just destroyed. It's got to be purified. Okay. You're going to trust what remains after you release what cannot endure. That was something that's a little bit hard with this week too. Sometimes the things that we want to last the fire don't.
Yeah.
Some things within our burning building that we are like, we got it, we got it. Some things we go to reach for go in a different direction, you know? They're purified in a different way, or that purification separates us. That's so many different things that can happen, you know, that led to that or that will happen after, but just gotta trust. I just felt really like, just like this turning finally today of things are really about to start coming in. Like I was just really in my power of, ooh, things are about to start coming in, but not just that. I'm about to be in my power and people are about to start watching me walk around with my head held high, you know, like I did in the hospital the other day. And it's just really exciting.
It is.
I'm exciting.
You are
I'm
exciting.
excited. And I just want to thank you for sticking with me during those tough times because it's not easy.
Yeah,
And it's
but
not delightful. And there is a but no. Thank you. I know you love me. I know that there's that feeling of responsibility and nurturing, you know. I get it. Just taking away all of that, that was a choice for you to be there. At the end of the day, you choose to be with me, and I thank you for that. So
I love you.
I love you too. Never quit it. Anyways, it's all about the ignition this week. Since you're here, do you want to hear a little bit of a overview of what's going to happen for the
Let's
month?
do it.
Okay, so we'll do a little bit of a backtrack. So we're going to do it in 2 days anyways, but since some of you may be returning to us and Mark is back with us, this month is all about the flame bearer. So we are holding the flame.
Okay.
Whether it's within us, whether we're kindling it, right? So many different things. One of my favorite, like in my lifetime, one of my favorite ways of someone kindling their fire and it being spiritually tied to them is Zuko and Aang in The Last Airbender. If you watch that where they meet the dragons, he's like, stop, like you got to stop. Like I'm trying to protect it. It's because they were so nervous, you know, they were so here and it was spiritual. It was so much more than just keeping that light there.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to go out because you told it to go out ultimately, but it was just really cool but I just wanted to say that anyways. It's one of my favorite flame bearer like things. And a lot of those actually tied to actual myths and legends, a lot of that show. But this month is all about the solar power, sacred fire, transformation, courage and leadership, flame as spirit, passion and purification, destruction as rebirth, and light as knowledge. Right? We know that. Light, that's always been some sort of conflicting thing throughout history, I think, is, well, some myths say that what was really given to us was knowledge. Well, some myths and historical things say it's fire. That's the same thing. They're the same thing. They're representing the same. So it doesn't matter if it's like Prometheus. So, you know, there's so many different people that have brought it down. It's the same. Right. So that's where we are. And I just felt good, like knowing that this month is all about courage and I was about it, you know, wasn't just talking about it. I was being about it for myself too. I think it's a lot easier to stand up for other people than for myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I feel like that's just easier. I don't know why. But okay, so week 1, the ignition. Week 2 with our birthdays are both in week 2. It's the sun in full. So the sun is in full that entire week. We're going to really feel it, feel it, feel it. Of course, the new moon's there, so it's even more power from the sun because it's not being transferred through the moon at night. So that's pretty exciting. And then our week 3 is the burning away. So this is the shedding, the rebirth, all of that stuff, as well as not just burning and running out, but when you're standing in that fire and you allow it to transform who you are, that forge. That's all
Gotcha.
about that week.
Yeah.
And then our final week is all about the embers. Some embers need caring to, some need to be completely put out, and some we need to leave for others. And that's what's cool too, is some of these nations traveled seas with the same fire. Like they took it from this holy fire in their culture, their land. And that was the fire. They didn't light new ones. They took that with them to their new home. I just think that's remarkable.
Right.
That, that Trojan flame, right? Could have been Rome's flame. Could have ended up being over in, there's so many different ways that could have transferred.
Yeah.
So I think that there could potentially be people still keeping that same fire going.
Wouldn't that be amazing to find? Because
that's what elemental is.
Well, so I don't know, because some of the stories that we've heard, they put their fires out every year.
Mhm.
But does the one fire stay going? The one fire stays going, right? In the town center, does that get put out too?
I think from the ones that we've seen, all of them are put out.
In the houses.
But everywhere.
Yes.
And they create a new fire, a new town fire too.
So that it's all new.
In some cultures, yes, they put them completely out to allow it to die and then rebirth, not continuing to build, because they want some of that stuff to be burnt, destroyed. It's gone, done. Clear the ashes and make way for new life.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some that do that as well.
So it'd just be interesting to know if what cultures do keep it all the time, and if there are any that through story they're like, yeah, no, this is the fire from 500, 600, 9,000 years ago. Who knows?
It's kind of interesting though that I feel like, if I'm thinking correctly, a number of the places that put out the fire are some of the really cold places. And I think that that's a little bit of there's only one center fire. Where's everyone going to go? It forces us to come back together.
Yeah.
When it's really cold, remember who's truly around you, who can really keep you warm until you get that flame back.
Yeah.
Because there are moments in our lives where we aren't carrying our own flame, right? I feel like you were carrying my flame a couple days to just keep it protected. And then it kept going. So there are times where we choose to step in and kindle someone else's flame.
Mm-hmm.
We don't take it over, and sometimes we kind of blow on it to make it blow up, right? It's just a human nature thing.
Yeah.
It's a behavioral thing that sometimes we like, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody has experienced that with
some
somebody.
Weird karma that we have, and we're just like, yeah, let's just keep doing this because we can't learn from our own lessons. It's goofy. Humans are weird. Like, seriously, if you think about humans in general, like the oddities of the things that we choose to do that we know hurts us, and we still don't care. We're still just going to do it anyways, just for the simple fact we can burn it and start over again.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because why not? So,
Right.
I guess have fun.
I know. And it's just crazy when I was looking at the wildfire and how many times like that's been said. We say that. I mean, as humans too, not just you and I, but I'm saying in general. How many times have we said just burn it to the ground?
Yeah.
Just let it burn. Well, when there really is that fire around.
That's pretty
changes
nerve-wracking.
perspective and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not completely, but Anyways, week 2 though, we have the golden lion gate on mine, and then the celestial gate on yours with the full moon that's coming up. Or I mean the new moon, which is coming up, as well as Perseus falling. Perseus is coming. I love that Perseus is coming right around the time where our second book's going to be done and in editing phases. And we're already editing it. So like we have way less edits in this book, I think, than we did in the pilgrimage. And it's already like twice as long, just the first part that we've got.
Yep.
So, maybe we'll finish that in between our birthdays and we'll allow the hero to fall.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we'll allow history's heroes to fall,
Yeah.
But yeah, August is all about all of these beautiful things. Allowing ourselves to like ourselves, Gotta like ourselves even when we are very unlikable. Because this is kind of like what I was thinking. If I don't like myself, who else would? We get stuck in that. Because I don't. I need to make you not. Like, why do you keep loving, kind of thing. And so this month, when we feel that way, I think we just look to those who give us courage, who give us joy, whether it's a partner, someone that makes us feel safe when we were younger or older, music, a brand new change, right? It was just like the past 2 days, I feel like it just was a full, like I told you, the South has been calling me to, and then that just hit and I've been nonstop, like thinking about it, feeling it, making even the vibrations in my body that match like the place I'm thinking of. So it's just kind of cool. We'll see you guys next time. We'll see you tomorrow for the eruption.
Love you guys.
What? Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. August 5th, The Test by Flame. Story 1, Sita's Trial by Fire. When the great war of the Ramayana had finally ended, the mighty king Ravana lay defeated upon the battlefield, and Rama had rescued his beloved wife Sita after her long captivity in the island kingdom of Lanka. Across the land, victory was celebrated as the triumph of righteousness over tyranny, yet for Sita, the greatest trial had not yet begun. Though she had remained unwavering in her devotion throughout her imprisonment, whispers of doubt arose among the people. Could someone who had lived within Ravana's palace truly have remained untouched by his power? Though Rama himself understood Sita's purity, he also carried the burden of a king whose life depended not only on his own heart, but to the confidence of his people. In one of the most moving moments in Hindu literature, Sita stepped forward and declared that truth itself needed no defense beyond its own light. Rather than answering accusation with anger, she called upon Agni, the ancient god of fire, to bear witness. Fire, throughout the Vedic tradition, had long been understood as a sacred purifier. It consumed what was false, refined what was true, and carried offerings from humanity to the heavens. Standing before the assembled armies, Sita entered the blazing flames without fear. The fire rose around her, yet it did not burn her clothing, her skin, or even a single strand of her hair. Instead, Agni himself emerged from the radiant flames, carrying Sita unharmed, and presented her before Rama in the gathering world, proclaiming that she was entirely pure, faithful, and blameless. The fire had revealed rather than destroyed. To generations of Hindu readers, this moment becomes one of profound spiritual symbolism. Gold is purified within a furnace not because it is impure by nature, but because fire reveals its enduring worth. Likewise, Sita's integrity required no embellishment. The flames simply uncovered what had always been true. Over the centuries, however, this story has inspired deep reflection and many different interpretations. Some traditions understood the trial literally, while others said it symbolically, seeing the fire as representing the painful judgments and hardships that every person must endure before truth becomes visible to others. Many modern scholars and devotees also wrestle thoughtfully with the emotional complexity of the narrative, particularly the suffering Sita experienced despite her innocence. Within Hindu philosophy, her unwavering dignity, courage, and trust continue to make her one of the tradition's most beloved examples of strength. Her story reminds us that character is not ultimately determined by accusation or public opinion, but by the quiet reality of who we are when our lives are tested. Every person eventually encounters moments when misunderstandings arise, reputations are questioned, or circumstances feel deeply unfair. Like fire itself, these seasons can either consume us or reveal what has quietly been forming within us all along. Thus, Sita's walk through the flames has endured for thousands of years not as a celebration of suffering, but as a testament to the belief that truth, though sometimes hidden for a season, possesses a remarkable resilience. What is genuine may be challenged, but it cannot be destroyed by the fire that only reveals what was always there. Story 2. The Fires of Muspelheim. Long before the first mountain rose from the earth, or the first tree stretched its branches towards the heavens, the Norse imagined a universe divided between two immense realms. To the north lay Niflheim, the world of ice, mist, and bitter cold. To the south blazed Muspelheim, the realm of living fire, where rivers of flame flowed like molten seas and sparks filled the endless sky. Between them yawned the vast emptiness known as Ginnungagap, the great primordial void. There, where the freezing breath of Niflheim met the searing heat of Muspelheim, the first drops of melting frost began to stir with life. From that meeting of fire and ice emerged Ymir, the first giant, along with the cosmic cow, Althumbla, whose nourishing milk sustained him. As she licked the salty ice, another being slowly emerged from within the frozen stone, Buri, ancestor of the gods. Thus, in Norse imagination, creation itself was not born from perfect peace, but from the meeting of opposing forces held in delicate balance. Fire was never merely destructive. It was one of the primal powers from which existence itself had arisen. Yet Muspelheim remained a place of overwhelming intensity. Its blazing frontiers were guarded by the mighty fire giant, Surtur, whose flaming sword burned brighter than the sun. None crossed his borders unprepared, for the fire of Muspelheim revealed weakness without mercy. Later generations of storytellers imagined heroes, warriors, and seekers passing through trials of unbearable heat, where only courage, endurance, and unwavering resolve could carry them forward. Whether told in medieval poetry or later Scandinavian folklore, the fires of Muspelheim became a powerful image of every hardship that shapes the soul. Iron enters the forge as ordinary metal and emerges stronger through flame. Clay becomes lasting pottery only after enduring the kiln. Even forests, after natural fire has passed, often return with new growth richer than before. The Norse recognize this same pattern within human life. Every person eventually walks through seasons of testing. Grief burns away illusion. Responsibility tempers youthful pride. Failure exposes hidden weaknesses, while perseverance slowly strengthens what remains. Fire does not create character from nothing. It uncovers and refines what was already forming beneath the surface. Yet the Norse also remembered that fire without balance becomes catastrophe. At the end of time, during Ragnarok, Surtur would finally leave Muspelheim, his flaming sword setting the world ablaze as the old age came to its destined conclusion. Mountains would crumble, forests would burn, and even the gods would fall. But this was never the end of the story. After the flames had passed, a renewed earth would rise once again from the sea, green and fertile beneath the fresh sky. The same fire that ended one world prepared way for another. Thus, Muspelheim became one of the great paradoxes of Norse mythology. Fire destroys, yet it also begins. It consumes, yet it also creates. It tests, yet it also reveals. The ancient North understood that some flames exist not to punish us, but to prepare us for the life that waits beyond them. Story 3, The Trial by Fire. In medieval Europe, when evidence was scarce and truth seemed hidden beyond the reach of human judgment, many people believed that only God could reveal what human beings could not. Courts often relied upon witnesses, oaths, and testimony, yet there were times when accusations remained unresolved and no clear answer could be found. During these moments, when communities turned to what became known as the trial by ordeal, a practice founded upon the belief that divine justice would ultimately protect the innocent. Among the most famous of these ordeals was the trial by fire, a solemn ceremony that blended law, religion, and faith into a single act of extraordinary seriousness. Before the ordeal began, priests blessed the instruments to be used, offered prayers, celebrated Mass, and asked for God's guidance. The event was never intended as a spectacle, but as a sacred appeal to heavenly judgment. The accused might be required to carry a piece of glowing iron several paces, walk barefoot across heated metal, or place a hand into the fire under carefully prescribed conditions. Afterward, the wound was wrapped and sealed. Several days later, church officials examined the injury. If the burns showed signs of healthy healing, the individual was often declared innocent, for it was believed that God had intervened on behalf of the truthful. If infection or severe injury remained, guilt was sometimes presumed. Though this practice appears unsettling to modern readers, it reflected a medieval worldview in which divine justice was understood to be actively involved in daily life. Heaven was not distant or silent. God was believed to care deeply about truth and righteousness, even within the courtroom. Yet as centuries passed, Christian theologians and legal scholars increasingly questioned whether human beings should ask God to intervene through such dangerous tests. By the early 13th century, the Fourth Lantern Council of 1215 prohibited clergy from participating in ordeals, and the practice gradually disappeared across much of Europe. New legal systems emphasizing investigation, testimony, written evidence, and reason slowly replaced trial by ordeal. Still, the image of fire revealing truth endured long after the practice itself had faded. Medieval writers often compared the testing of the soul to precious metals refined within a furnace. Gold was not made valuable by fire. Fire merely revealed its purity by burning away what did not belong. In the same way, hardship became a spiritual metaphor. Trials exposed character. Suffering uncovered perseverance. Temptation revealed integrity. The flames people feared often became the very place where hidden strength was discovered. This understanding echoed through monasteries, sermons, literature, and the lives of countless ordinary people who endured famine, war, disease, and uncertainty with remarkable faith. They came to believe that life's greatest test did not exist simply to break a person, but to uncover the virtues quietly forged through years of faithful living. Today, we no longer seek truth by carrying glowing iron in our hands, yet every generation continues to face its own ordeals. Illness, grief, failure, disappointment, and misunderstanding still place our convictions into the fire. The ancient image remains surprisingly powerful. What survives our hardest season often tells us far more about ourselves than what we possess during times of comfort. Like refined gold emerging from the furnace, our deepest values are often revealed only after they have been tested. Story 4, Walking Through the Fire. Among the Zulu people of southern Africa, fire has long been regarded as far more than a source of warmth or a tool for cooking. It is a living symbol of continuity, purification, and connection between the visible world and the unseen realm of the ancestors. Throughout generations, fires have burned at family homesteads where stories were shared beneath the stars, where elders passed wisdom to the young, and where ceremonies marked the great passages of life. Smoke rising into the evening sky carried prayers and remembrance, while the glowing embers reminded each generation that life itself is sustained through relationships carefully tended over time. During important rites of passage, healing ceremonies, and communal gatherings, fire often became a place where old burdens were released so that new beginnings could emerge. While specific customs have varied among Zulu communities across history, purification has remained a central theme. Before entering a new season of life, individuals might participate in rituals of cleansing that symbolized leaving behind spiritual or emotional burdens that no longer belonged to them. In some traditions, medicinal herbs were burned so that their fragrant smoke surrounded those seeking blessing or restoration. In others, participants passed near ceremonial fires or through rising smoke, not because the flames themselves possessed magical power, but because fire represented transformation. Just as dry grass becomes ash and green wood becomes glowing embers, the old self gives way to renewed life. Fire was understood as a visible reminder that change often requires release. The Zulu also recognized that fire demands respect. Left untended, it can destroy homes and fields. Guided with wisdom, it cooks food, protects communities, and brings people together in warmth after sunset. This balance became a lesson for human character itself. Anger, ambition, grief, courage, and love all resemble fire. None are inherently good or evil. Each becomes life-giving or destructive depending upon how it is tended. Elders often taught that true strength was not measured by how fiercely a person burned, but by whether their inner fire brought healing rather than harm to those around them. Around evening fires, generations gathered to tell stories of ancestors whose perseverance had carried the community through hardship. These memories became another kind of flame, one passed from voice to voice rather than from torch to torch. Each story preserved courage. Every lesson kept wisdom alive. Every child listening beneath the fire inherited something invisible yet enduring. In this way, purification was never understood simply as removing what was bad. It also meant remembering what was worth carrying forward. The flames consumed what could not endure, but they illuminated what truly mattered. Thus, the sacred fire became both teacher and companion. It invited every person to ask a simple yet searching question. When the unnecessary has been burned away, what remains? The Zulu answer was not found in possessions or reputation, but in character, community, and the enduring bonds between people, the land, and those who had walked before them. Fire revealed that what is rooted in truth, love, and wisdom does not vanish in flames. It shines more clearly because of them. The daily thread for August 5th. What does the fire reveal? It is easy to love the fire that warms us. It is far more difficult to trust the fire that tests us. Yet across continents and centuries, today's stories remind us that not every flame exists to destroy. Some exist to uncover what has been there all along. Sita walked through the fire with nothing to prove except the truth she already carried within her, and the flames became witnesses rather than enemies. From the blazing realm of Muspelheim, the Norse remembered that the same fire capable of ending worlds had also helped bring creation into being, teaching that hardships often prepare us for the life that follows it. Medieval Christians looked to the image of fire as a symbol of God's refining work, believing that character, like precious metal, becomes most visible when it passes through the furnace. And among the Zulu, ceremonial fires marked moments of purification and renewal, inviting people to release what no longer belonged to them while carrying wisdom, community, and memory into the future. Though these traditions differ greatly in history and belief, they all arrive at a remarkable understanding. Fire reveals before it transforms. Gold enters the furnace already containing its hidden beauty. The flames simply burn away what conceals it. A tree does not suddenly become strong during a storm. Its roots were growing long before the wind arrived. In the same way, life's greatest traits rarely create our deepest character overnight. More often, they reveal the quiet habits, convictions, and hopes we have been nurturing long before the difficult season began. We often ask, why am I being tested? The ancient storytellers gently shift the question. Instead, they ask, what is this season uncovering within me? Is it fear that has quietly taken root, or courage I did not know I possessed? Is it resentment waiting to consume me, or compassion made deeper by suffering? Fire has a way of stripping away illusions until only what truly matters remains. It reminds us that titles fade, possessions disappear, and certainty can quickly give way to questions. Yet integrity, kindness, perseverance, faith, and love often shine brightest after everything unnecessary has been burned away. Perhaps that is why so many cultures entrusted fire with sacred meaning. It is one of nature's greatest teachers. It does not flatter, it does not deceive. It simply reveals what endures. As you move through your own seasons of challenge, remember that every trial carries two possibilities. It can harden the heart, or it can refine it. The flames themselves do not make that choice. We do. And sometimes, when the fire finally settles into glowing embers, we discover that what survived was the very part of us that had been quietly growing stronger all along.